Okay. So today what we want to look at is that how Salesforce is actually storing the data. Yeah. And how we can load the data into these tables in bulk. That means you as a system administrator sometimes will be required to do data loading. That means data migration. So maybe the customer is using Excel sheets, or maybe the customer is using Google Sheets, maybe the customer is using any other CRMs. So you have to bring data uh, of their end customers into Salesforce when you get started or install Salesforce for the first time. So it is very important to understand the system administrator's job is also to load the data or do the data migration. And that means you are not creating record one after another or one by one, because there can be thousands of records which you have to load into the system before the system can be utilized by the salespeople, because you are probably migrating them, right, from their Excel sheets or from there. So if they do not have data in the system and it is bare minimum, probably that is not a useful system for them. So whenever you install Salesforce for the first time, you also need to probably do a data migration. That means a data loading. How will you achieve that? Because that would be tasked on the system administrator. Because salesman will, you cannot ask the salesman to now say, okay, load your 5 years of data into the system, all your customers data, everything, all the leads, you load it into the system one by one, because probably they are not habituated to that. So this task would be a typical task which we have to do when we start a Salesforce system. Okay, and it can also happen every day. So in some situations, we will discuss the scenarios. Okay. Before that, we'll start with our tables, the grand old tables we discussed. So account and contact. Let's look at these two tables today. So you see, these are two objects, as we say. Tables we do not say. In Salesforce, we'll say objects. And there are some fields, right? And you can also start displaying fields. If you change this to all accounts, then only you will see that. If you are in the recently viewed items, then this will not enable. Okay, please remember this. So you need to be on any of the list views. You can create your own list view. How will you create it? You have to go to this icon, create a new list view, or you can clone from an existing one. Whatever is selected will get cloned. Okay, so let's start from scratch. I will create a new list view and I will say active accounts. There are three options. Only I can see this list view. That means any other person who is logging in will not get to use this list view. But if you want to give it to everybody, then you can select this option. Then anybody else can use this list view to filter the records, right? Share list with group of users. That means you are giving only specific access to a few people. So let's enable it for all users. And you can, by default, is filtered by owner. Owner means in any record, you will always see there is an owner, right? We discussed this. There is a record owner. So by default, whenever you are creating a list view, it is always filtered by owner. So if I want to see everybody's accounts, then I do all accounts. Otherwise, it will only filter out my records. Okay, please remember that. When you save, then you can add more filters. You can say that active equals to yes. I want to see only the active accounts. So the whole account, all accounts, you see, all accounts was showing 15. Now I have created a only active accounts list, which is only 10 of them, because I have an additional filter. So this is the easy way of putting a filter on the records which you have, right? That means right now the active account table, account table has 15 records, but through this new filter, that's a new list view, I am able to only see the active accounts. So I have used a filter. You can go ahead and change this again on this funnel button. It will bring your filter, and you can add other filters, and you can do logic. Let's see some other filters in action. I want to like see all the accounts which starts with U. Okay, so you see there is a starts with and value is UNI. And I save. So what happens? It only gives me the account which starts with UNI. Yeah, I have put an additional filter. You can tweak the logic here. You see, by default, it is A and 2. You can also put an OR logic if you want. What is AND logic and OR logic? We will discuss this in great detail at a later date. But here, AND means.
So 1 and 2, sir. I mean, there is 1 and 2.
1 and 2 is a 1 and B. This is the first condition. This is the second condition. I am putting an AND condition. That means though both the condition needs to be fulfilled. Okay. And if I put a OR, then any of this condition.
One of them.
Oh, got it.
OR means any, AND means all. Please remember this. This will make your life easier. AND means all the condition needs to be fulfilled, then only it will work. OR means any of the condition needs to be fulfilled, then I will get that. Clear? Those who have problem on that one. Okay. Now let us discuss. So I will go back to the default logic of AND and save it. So these accounts starts with uni, and these are also active. So both these situations are true, right? But if I do an OR, then if there is a uni account which is not active, that will also show up. Clear? Any questions so far? Okay. So this is the easy way of filtering your records and doing that. But now we will dig deeper, and you can also add some columns if you want. So you can say select the fields to display. I say I don't need this one. I don't need this one. I don't need this one. Probably I need active. I add it using this button. Remove this from this button. Maybe approved. This button and save. So this list changes. So now you see the headers and the columns are changing based on whatever values I want to see on that list, and it will keep on saving. You can pin this list also. That means every time you move to a different tab and come back, this will be by default the list view which you want to use. Otherwise, it will always go back to the recent items. Okay, please remember that. So pinning is important so that you come back onto this list view again and again. Any questions so far? Okay. So we already discussed. Any questions related to that? This is new list view. This is cloning and list view. That means if I clone, you see, copy of active accounts, I can now again create another list view from the filters which are already there and probably take it from there. Okay, I can rename this list view. I don't want this name, something else. I can do that. Sharing setting we'll discuss in great detail in upcoming sessions. So sharing setting, basically, this is the three things which you can change for the existing list view. Edit list filters. You see, if I want to change the list filters, it will basically all these things are showing up inside here. Select list and delete if you don't want to use this list anymore. So these are all controls related to the list view controls. So you are creating list views only. That means filtered view of the records of that object. Clear? So list view is an easy way of filtering out. You can also go and search from here. You see, I can do a search from here. I can also do a global search. If I do a global search, it shows the same text inside multiple objects. Okay. So these two works a little differently. This searches the entire database. This only searches this local. Okay. Clear? Okay. Now we will discuss about this functionality called import. Right. But before that, we want to dig deeper into the table. So let's talk about a tool which gives a sneak peek on Salesforce. We have to learn a language, but that language is quite easy to learn. But I think this is a great tool for you to start that language learning. So this is the link. We'll also share it on WhatsApp. Start this and you will be asked to log in once again. If you are opening on the same browser, you don't have to log back. You just click on I agree to terms and log into Salesforce. Immediately, it will ask for a allow access. Do that. And this is basically a workbench. So what is the benefit out of it? You can do many operations on the database from here. Yeah, you can do all the same things from developer console, but in developer console, we do not get the assistance which we are getting in workbench. So we are preferring this. What assistance? Since I do not know the language, let us see what I can do using this. So remember this one, SOQL query. You can also select it from here. So in queries, you have to remember SOQL. This is Salesforce Object Query Language. Okay, SOQL, that's the full form. And these are the operations. So this is read operation, and these are other operations which we'll discuss. So we already talked about create, right? 4 things we can do on a table: create, edit, read, delete, right? CRED, create, read, edit, delete. That means you can create a new record in an object. That means a new row in the table. You can read or see a row in a table or a record in an object. You can edit. That means you can change values in any of the records or rows of a table. And last is delete. You can delete a row in a table. All are data operations. Please remember this. Okay. Changing the table is metadata operations. That means if you want to introduce a new column, that is a structural change. That is not something which we are discussing right now. We are discussing data inside a table. Any queries? Any questions? SOQL into the first operation is read. This is a basic operation which we can do on any object. Okay. If you do not have a read permission, then that object does not exist for you. Those we will discuss what are the different kind of permissions are possible. But let's first see how the first operation can be done. Read. So I want to see the records or the rows of a table. How? So in account, the first operation, very easy. If I click on this, immediately you see a query is created for me. You can remember this or hand type it at a later date, but this tool gives this query automatically to you. So you don't have to learn this language, but it is very easy to learn. So let's do account on account. You see, query would return 15 records. That means I have 15 rows in this table. Okay. These are all the fields which is present in the account object. You see, so many fields. These are standards.
This is just a query. This is in regards to the existing Salesforce. Like for example, if the currently the number of accounts are 15, maybe just trying to understand that. Is this in line with what Salesforce is? Like it tries to read data from Salesforce. Is that how I put it?
Yes. This is pulling the data from this org itself. So you saw 15 records here. Exactly, that is why it is showing 15. Okay. So what I can do now, I can
logged in with that ID. That's why it's
yes,
showing 15, right?
absolutely. So it is basically pulling the data from this org itself. Because in the first screen, you see this is Animesh Banerjee at Tetacolor Private API 58. This is basically the org ID you see. Are you seeing? The
Yes,
instance
sir.
playful naval, exactly playful naval, this is the org. So it is connecting to basically this org and it is pulling data from that org.
Okay.
Clear? Okay. So I can see multiple column values together. For that, I have to use the control key, or if you are using Mac, then you have to use the command key and select multiple. So ID, I want to see. ID is the Salesforce standard field which Salesforce will apply and auto create for all records. It is so 15 records of this table or this object will have a unique ID. Where do I find this ID? We'll show that.
This is one which is part of that. Like when you click on an account on the web browser, the alphanumeric one. Is that the same?
This is the 18 character created by Salesforce. That is correct. So here is my list. So let's match it with here. You see, this is the exact list. Burlington Textile and this. Exactly that same list has coming. So you see, this is 18 character alphanumeric This is created by Salesforce for every row or every record in a table. Okay. If you are feeling lazy, you can also do this from here. So in developer console, you can go, but you can go it after you learn how to write the SQL query, because we do not know how to write the SQL query. That's why we are doing it. So I can go to query editor from here, and I can write the same thing here. Select ID, name from account, and execute. You see exactly the same 15 rows will come here. Okay. At a later date, when you are well accustomed with this query language, you can generate or you can hand type it directly. So you don't have to. So right now we are getting the help from this tool to build our queries. Okay. So simple, right? You don't have to learn anything. Can I now filter this? Of course, just like I want to have a filter like this, active account. What was the filter? I had active as yes, right? And then I introduced a uni filter. How do I do this? You can see how a query language will actually do that. You see, active. Here, everything is based on the API name of that. Okay, where did you get the API name? It is very important. We are working with these values. Please remember this. Okay, this is the what we will see in the UI, but actually when we program or when we are the system administrator is working, he will always work with this field name. So a workbench is only showing you the field names. So underscore C means custom fields. Anything which does not have underscore C is a standard field. So we are pulling only two field values, ID and name. I can also pull the active value. The active underscore C. You can also do a control and select it from here. Same thing. Or you can directly type it from here. See? Now there are three values. What if I want to put a filter on this? So I will have active equal to, what is that? Yes. You see, automatically it is creating a query for me. Query. Now I am seeing 10 records. A filtered view of the same table, because now it has filtered it. So it is the language is called where, then which field equal to what value. What if I want to add some more filters, just like I did here, right? Account name starts with uni. Can I do this here? Absolutely. So I will add another filter. I will say name. Get help of here. You see, starts with is there, and you say uni, right? It has built a query for me already. You will keep learning this query language. You will understand how it is working. So like, and it will give you now 4 records. Exactly what we are seeing here, isn't it? So quite a lot of fun, isn't it? So what if I want to now see actives which do not have a value? Not equal to? Yes. So I will remove this query. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 objects wherein active does not have any value. Let's see the value of the active. I think it's blank. Yeah. So not equal to yes. Now I reversed it. This is non-functional. The next actually what is written here is actually which is getting fired. Okay. So I have 5 records which does not have any active values, right? Okay, just remember this, but we'll play around with this. So now we are happy. we have done a read operation. You can do data export operations from here also. See, there is a data export. Exactly what we are doing here in Workbench, that is query. You can download this data using bul CSV. Let's download this data, run the query. You see, I changed from list to this, and there is a download button which gives me this in my machine. So what is there? Let's go and check. I will say,
I have a query.
yes.
Why are we doing this? Just trying
Why
to
are
find
we?
out. Why are we doing this? Why are you going to Workbench and doing this? Am I missing something in this? Is it more on the lines that since we kind of don't do like, don't know the language perspective, is that the reason why we are doing this?
Yes, yes, yes. SQL language, you're working on SQL language. The benefit is that this tool gives you a auto generation of SQL language. That is the only reason.
As an administrator, can't we do all that on Salesforce itself, like downloading the? So this is primarily helping us to kind of export the data, right?
That is exactly what I am talking about. In Salesforce, you have an export option. You can do that from here.
Okay.
There are other tools which we will discuss. Just give me 1 second. My charge is drying out. Salesforce has a tool also, which we will discuss a little later. Little advanced tool. That is why I did not start with it. But if you go here, there is a data loader.io. Okay. We have elaborate videos from here, so you can do the same thing from here also. Okay, play around, log in with Salesforce, same thing. Same, allow access. This is the Salesforce tool. Please remember, Workbench is not a Salesforce official tool, but data loader is a Salesforce official tool. You can do exactly the same thing from here. You have to go to task and you can do it. This is done using MuleSoft. This is for Shiva to understand. Let's do the same thing, what we did here. I go to account. I select which fields to account ID and employee name. So these two, you see, you can build your own filters here also. I will say active, not equal to, yes, next. Sorry. It is giving me 5 records. Save and run. It takes a while to execute this. You can also execute from here. This show up. Anyway, it went into queues and it will automatically, whenever the queue is free, it will show up. So are we getting the point? Please play around with both the tools. This is a little more complicated tool to use. Workbench is, that's why, quite famous in the developer area, because this gives you a lot of features. Anyway. So we can also do without any filter if you want to do that. That is what we export in the export. Okay, you can export now. You can select which object you want to export on, and this will come to you as a mail, as an attachment. Okay. Usually we use this option for taking a data backup every week or every day. So many organizations use this if they do not have a data backup mechanism. This is a success. 5 things, and you can export this data. You see, this is also done. Clear, Shiva?
Yes. So yeah, I think no. I was actually, I think I lost somewhere in between. Maybe I kind of missed on that workbench thing. That's the reason I asked that question.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to show how to open workbench?
No. I think before you started our workbench, I think I somewhere missed out on that line. Maybe when you said that while we were, that's the reason I kind of wanted to.
Basically,
recheck.
This what you are seeing is basically a SQL builder. If you install Visual Studio Code now, this is a little for the advanced class. You also have a SQL builder there. So people who are going into development we can do the same thing in Visual Studio Code tool, but here it is the online version, as you can see.
Right. Okay.
Same thing. This is the official tool, dataloader.io. Please, but this has many limits. It will have free versions limits applicable. Workbench does not have anything. Okay. So let us now jump back. So the read operation and read operation in bulk that we have already seen. So now we have already exported the data. So you see the last, this data loaded download, this is inactive accounts, right? So if you can open it in your Excel or Open Excel or whatever spreadsheet you use, you can see that actually it is showing something like a CSV file directly opens in Excel sheet. Okay. So these are my list of inactive accounts. You can export everything, all the accounts also. 15 accounts were there. You can export it. Here we are only exporting the inactive accounts. So this is the read operation in bulk. Okay. So you can take or query or read operations. The same thing, all these languages or these terms will be utilized. Basically, you are doing a read operation on a table. Any questions so far? Good. When you are using the list view, that you are also doing a read operation, right? This is also a bulk read operation, correct? Okay. Now, how to create some records in bulk? That means probably I'm loading some data. Let's create it from scratch. I will create data on an Excel sheet from scratch. Let's load some data on account. Rename this to new account. What are the bare minimum fields needed to be loaded, do you think? Anybody wants to give a try? Yeah.
Account name and account number. First account name.
What do you mean by number?
Account number.
The account ID.
ID will be created by the system automatically. I don't think we need to update that.
ID will be created automatically by the system. I do not need ID. So if you go to the account table, actually name is the only thing which is needed. So if you go and click this new, you will see only account name is the mandatory field. Nothing is mandatory. Yeah, you can make other fields mandatory, and we'll discuss this later. So let me create 5 accounts. Test 1, test 2, test 4, and test 5. Yeah, good enough. Excel sheet saving will not work. You have to save as this one, CSV UTF-8. What is this? Comma separated values. This is the format Salesforce understands. Salesforce does not understand any other format. Okay. So this version you have to choose, and you can name it as given and save it. Maybe replace. I already had some values. Okay, cool. So new accounts is something which we are going to load. How do I load? You can load it from here. You can load it from here. And you can load it from here also. Let's see the insert operation from here. It's easy to understand. So we are going into insert operation. That is creating of records in bulk. Which object I want to insert into account? From file, not a single record. Which file? I will choose new accounts. Next. You see, this is the whole list of the fields we have, but the red color marks is the mandatory field. I have to map. What is mapping? Excel sheet or CSV will have a column header. So which column needs to be mapped, or which column data will go into which field needs to be mapped. Usually Salesforce automatically identifies the name is the exact same match. So I will, in the CSV, I have a column called name. I will match this. Nothing else is needed. That is all. Just done. You see, the file contains 5 records, and I confirm insert. Created. What happens? Let's go back and share. Test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5. Created. Can I do the same thing using data loader? Yes, I can. Try it out. You let me know if you're not able to do that. We'll not discuss other tools. Can I import this from here? Of course you can. This is the easiest way. And non-Salesforce administrators probably will be using this tool if they want to import data into Salesforce. So you see, standard object, add new records. Similarly, you select the file from here. This is the mapping object. You see, it's showing me the header values has not been mapped. So I change and map it. I remove this one. I will map it. The name field will be mapped to what? Salesforce account name. I will map. You see, CSV header name and Salesforce object is account name. Okay, mapped now. Same which we did in the workbench. Next, we start importing. Yeah, same thing. If I do a import here, it is again asynchronous. What will happen actually is that if you go back now to Salesforce, you see, duplicate, right? One I imported through workbench, one I imported through import wizard. I can also import from here. New task, import. Account, upload CSV. Sorry. Similar mapping you have to do. Name is the source header name, and you will selecting automatically. It has already selected for you. You can change this if you want to other fields, but we are. I think the mapping is done correctly. Next, 5 records to import. Save and run. It will run automatically and give you an update. Let's see this. See, third value. Please remember that name field is not unique. That's why you have to be very careful when you do a import into the account table. Okay. Now, what are the other operations that we can do on a table?
Create, read, edit, delete.
Edit. Create and read we have covered already, right? How do I now edit records? Let us see how records can be edited. Edited is update operation in account. This time I will make inactive accounts. This is the inactive accounts. Let's make them active. So I will go to Excel sheet. I will modify this sheet and will make it yes. And save this. If I do that, just do this update operation once again. You see, active automatically got mapped because the name is matching. Please remember, in edit mode, ID is mandatory. Okay, so you have to gather the Salesforce ID when you are doing a edit or delete operation. Clear? It is very important. These are mandatory values. Name, you may or may not use it if you are not updating this, not needed. I'm not changing anything on name, so remove this. ID and active flag, you see, and it is updated. Here, you can do the same from here. It is import basically for you. And it is for here, it is also the import wizard. Okay. Here, the only change is that you have to go here and you see update existing records. This is the option you have to. You can match by name or match by salesforce.com ID. If you're providing ID, you have to select this. Okay. If the name is unique, you can use this one. But here we found out automatically that name is not unique. But the values which this Excel sheet has, probably those are unique. So you can even use this one for the only these 5 records which you are updating. But if you are updating test 1, test 2, test 3, Salesforce will not be able to identify which record to use if you use name 1, right? Because there are duplicate rows. So Salesforce.id is the only field which is best to use for update operations. Clear? Update and delete operations. So we have already created these. Can I delete this? Yes, of course. Before moving to delete, I want to see this upsert operation. What is this operation? We will hear about this a lot more. This is the same operation as add new and update existing record. This is the upsert operation. What does it mean? I will go back to our update sheet once again. This is our sheet. And I will add some accounts here. And save this one. So here, there are 5 records which has ID. There are 2 records which does not have any ID. When I have a upsert operation from here, from file, I ID is mapped here, active is mapped here, name is mapped here. I will map this and I will say confirm upsert, 7 records. So what happens is exactly 5 records got updated where ID was there, 2 records got created where ID was not supplied. So update and insert can be done together. That is why they use the term upsert. That means update plus insert together in the same file. Clear? So Salesforce is basically checking whether the ID is supplied or not. If ID is supplied, then it is updating. If ID is not supplied, then it is creating. Clear? Any questions so far? Okay. I can also do delete operations. Similarly, I will use this inactive record and I will delete it. ID is the only field that's needed to delete. You see, only ID needs to be mapped. Map the field. These are some things which we'll discuss later. Confirm delete. If I do confirm deletes, I think there are some reasons, there are some opportunities for this account. That's why it is not allowing to delete. But you see, 3 accounts got deleted. Okay. What does it mean? That means what were the fields? Let me go back. Probably these 2, right? And this one. These had, I think, some opportunities. That's why these did not get deleted. So this got deleted. Let me check us. Account 100, new account 100. So if I go back and check my sales, not there, right? Got deleted, 29 records now. So 3 records got deleted, but actually this has not got deleted permanently. What it has happened is that it has gone and gets stored in a recycle bin of Salesforce. This is not the recycle bin of your desktop. Please remember this. This is the recyclable bin which Salesforce has, and it stores the record there for 10 days. Then it deletes permanently. So you can retrieve from recycle bin. It's called undelete. You can go ahead and use the same IDs. 2 things did not get deleted. Please remember that. Yeah. So it will not be there. So 5 records ID I have supplied. You see, the 3 records which got deleted are now undeleted, and 2 records it is not able to find in recycle bin because it was never deleted, right? Now if I go back and refresh this, this new account 200 or is back. So I deleted it, but it has come back again, right, from the recycle bin. Now I can do a permanent delete directly by using this one, or I can delete first and then do a purge operation. Purge means removing from recycle bin. I'm using that ID once again, map field, and confirm purge. That means now this is gone. So if I now try to undelete, it will fail for all the 5 records. See, nothing in recycle bin. Clear? So data operations, we have seen how we can use. Now let us look at a little more complicated situation. What if I want to load data in contacts? Let's create a contacts from scratch. What do you think is needed? Column values? First name? Last name? Anything else?
Account ID
Account ID. Why it is needed?
to match the contact.
to relate a contact with the account, because contact is basically a child, a many side of a one-to-many relationship between account. So a child should have the identity card of the father. Okay. So account ID, where will I get that? So let's create some contacts. Test one, test, test. And what should be the account ID? Where will I get their account ID? Account ID I can get from retrieval operation. That means I run this query on account. It will download. Otherwise, I can go to a list view. Let's take this ID. And I store it here. Same. Okay. Which account is this one? Let us go back once again. We are working with test 100. So let's go to test 100. This is the account. In the related list, we are not seeing any contacts. We want to create contacts, 3 contacts under this account, right? So we want to relate it to here. So this is the whole contact list. It has 18 rows. It is related to accounts, but I want to now relate 3 new contacts into contact. So I have to same records. 3 records will share the same account ID, right? Because all 3 needs to be related with this account. Please remember, what is this field? Let's see this field. I'm removing this for now so that you can have a look. So if you go to your work developer, sorry, object manager, and check the contact, this is actually account name lookup. So lookup fields or master detail fields will store the Salesforce ID of a parent record. Okay, that is exactly what is the pointing or relationship field which we have. Actually, we are loading this field. Okay, so let us now load that field. This is the insert operation. I will go to contact now. Did I save this? I did not save this. Okay. Let's save this. Again, this has to be saved in CSV. Salesforce does not understand anything except CSV. Contact. And this needs to be CSV UTF-8. New contacts. So let's new contacts are there. Next. See, last name is already mapped. I think the first name did not get mapped. I will map it. Account ID got mapped automatically. Great, fantastic. So map fields and confirm insert. You see, 3 contacts has been created. So if I go back to my account called test 100, now I can see 3 contacts created inside. Clear? On the contact list also, we'll see 3 contacts created and related to test. Any questions till now?
So in the account test 1, test 2, test 3 all have different ID, right?
Yes. Let's
But
see
if-
that read. Let's see this read operation. So I will go and do a query. And query, what I will do, this I will go in the contact.
But you put all the IDs same in the contact list for test 1, test 2, test 3.
ID is account ID, not the contact ID. Please remember this. Contact has a ID. For insert operation, ID is not provided, right? We did not provide the ID for ID is generated by Salesforce.
Yes.
What will happen? First name, last name, and I will take the account ID. Sorry, missed out. Okay, let me type ID, first name, last name, and account ID. Where name like not name, first name, equals to sorry, like last name,
Test.
like. Okay, check this. Account is the same ID, but these three contacts has their unique ID. This is a foreign key. This is the primary key. This is the unique identifier of the row of this table, and this is a lookup field. This is pointing to the ID or unique identifier of another table. So it can repeat here, but this ID will never repeat in account table. Clear? So this is a primary key of a different table. A lookup or a master detail actually is a primary key of a parent table. On this table, it has its own ID and it has its own primary key, the unique identifier for each row. And that is Salesforce is generating that. This is supplied by you because Salesforce will not generate this one. This is already generated in a different table. You have to utilize this for doing any kind of relationship building. Clear?
Okay.
But now you might say, I have a child object to load and I need to load for 100 accounts. Do I have to search for these 100 accounts and put it one by one? The answer is yes. But there is an easy mechanism to bypass this because Salesforce is generating these IDs. So you have to wait and download the Salesforce IDs once again and then use it for the next load for the child records, right? For relationship building. So can I bypass this one? And do I have an easy mechanism of doing this relationship building? There is. For that, you can use your own identifier. Okay. That is called external ID. What is external ID? You have to create an external ID in the parent table. Please remember this. External ID has to be created in the parent table, not on the child table. So who is the parent? Parent is account. So let's create one. This is my account. You see, there is a, I will create an external ID field. Sorry, there is no external ID field. So I will create one. This are only few fields can be made external ID. Text is one of them. You can check. I think there are 2 or 3 kinds of fields only you can make external ID. Okay. You can name this field anything. It does not need to be external ID. So field level, I will say external ID for us to understand. But you can name this field anything. 255 characters. Let's use the whole string type or text type. Maximum length is 255 characters. You can make it required from now on, but for now, not needed. It is always a best practice to mark this as unique. Okay, so that you do not allow duplicate values. Okay, there are 2 variants. You can make it a case sensitive variant or case insensitive variant. It is ideally case insensitive is the best way of doing it, so that there is no typing mistakes and stuff. This is the field which is important. External ID. You have to tick this. This field makes a field external ID. Okay. Naming this field external ID will not help. Okay, you have to mark this as check. Then only it will work as an external ID. So what benefit will that give? We'll see this. Make it visible for everybody. Add it to the screen. Now let us see how it makes life easier for us. So I will now create two sheets, one after another. First sheet is accounts name. I will say external ID test one. Now this is not working for me. I don't know what. Test two. Test three. Test. Now, a important part is this. I have to do it external ID. I have to fill up this value. Okay, you can use this one itself, name field, or you can say I will have my own values 101, 102, 103. This is something which I remember. Okay, and I will save this as CSV. External accounts. New accounts. Okay. So now load this data. I will go to account. From file, I will first load the external account. What I am loading? I am loading the name, and I have to just log back once again because the new field has been created. You have to log back once again to get that field. Please remember this. So I will now map the name field, and I will also see this external ID field. I will map this to external ID, and that is all, right? This time I'm loading my values, my own ID into this account. So 5 accounts has been created. If I go to my sales list, I will see 5 accounts has been created, which is called external ID 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 4 accounts were created. Now, what is the benefit for contacts? Let's create a contact sheet now. First name, account ID. I will say test external.
Since first name is not mandatory, we still need to have a name.
Not mandatory. You can skip this.
We can, right? No, I'm
can.
just asking.
It's just for benefit. I am doing it. This is not mandatory. The account ID is also not mandatory.
But how will we map it then? In terms of
It will not get mapped. It will remain as a private contact.
okay.
So I will now create 2 contacts, 3 and 4. Here I am giving my ID 101, 101, 102. You see, I am not searching for Salesforce ID. I am using my own ID. This is very beneficial when you are loading data from external systems, maybe an old CRM. They have their own serial numbers. You can use that as external ID. So load that into Salesforce as an external ID and use that. So the relationship building is very easy. external contacts. Okay, I have replaced now. So let us use this, but will that work? That is the question. Let's see. If I go to now contact, and external contacts. So I'm mapping account ID, I'm mapping last name, I will map the first name, and that's it. And at the field, and boom, doesn't work. Because Salesforce is expecting Salesforce IDs, and you have provided 101, 101, 102, 102. Not Salesforce is not going to accept this. So you have to tell that I am not providing Salesforce ID. Kindly convert this to Salesforce ID. From what? So this is, you have to so replace these values with Salesforce IDs. That is what we have to tell Salesforce. How do we tell Salesforce? We tell it using this one. We say in account, there is an external ID field. In the parent, I have an external ID field. I am supplying you the value of that. Kindly replace this with Salesforce IDs. Okay. So relationship values of the parent, you are not supplying Salesforce IDs. You are actually supplying the external ID values. Salesforce will automatically replace this and insert it. So now it's created. If I go back to external ID 1, I see 2 contacts getting created here. If I go and select this, I see 2 contacts getting created. Clear? Okay. Now, what we will do is that we will start a assignment, and that is something which you need to start doing. First, before that, can anybody tell that what is an app? Many of you have already proceeded with your trailheads. So how do you, what is an app in Salesforce and how can you create it? Does anybody know? Nobody?
App manager.
Manager. What is app? First, let's define what is an app. You see, this is the app, right? Sales app, this app. You are seeing different apps, just like in your mobile phones, right? You see different icons, open up different apps, right? What is an app in Salesforce?
Group of tabs.
Group of tabs. That's it. Perfect. So app is just a group of tabs. That means these are the tabs on the top, right? Any grouping of tabs can be an app. So you can create your own app. You go to setup, and there is an app manager. In app manager, you can create a new Lightning app. You can say my app, your logos if you want. Can have different kinds of navigation. I am doing this app for both desktop and mobile phones. And I can select which tabs I want to put it here, right? I can select account tab. I can put contact tab. I can select which type of users I want to give access to. Let's first give the system administrator access, nothing else. Okay, so when I create a new tab, what happens is that in the app launcher, you can now see my app. If you select here, you will see only account and contact. So this is a group of tabs. Now, if you create a new object, Salesforce does not automatically create a tab for you. You also have to go and create a tab for that object. Just like, did I create a new object from application? We created the application object. For inserting values or doing any kind of data operations, you need a tab for that. So you have to go and create a tab. In the last class, we created a tab of applications so that we could create, read, edit, or delete data into that object, right? So this group of tabs you can associate into this app of yours. Clear? So far, so good. Any questions? Now jumping to your assignments, I need all your Gmail IDs so that I can add you to a spreadsheet, Google spreadsheet, which will be where we will talk about our assignment. Clear? Before that, we need to discuss about our assignment. This is our assignment. Right now, we'll go one by one. Don't get overwhelmed with whatever you're seeing on the screen. Let us first discuss two objects. One object is called film. Okay. I want a new custom object called film that will have two fields. Name field by default, whenever you create a custom object, you will create a name field. I want you to create a production budget currency type of field. Okay. So on your playgrounds, please create this object. Just concentrate on this white portion. Do not bother about this blue portion as of now. Okay. Just concentrate on this one. Name and production budget. So I need only these values into this table. Okay. This you will not create manually. You will load using a CSV file. And in the next class, I want to see your CSV files. Clear? Load data into the film object using a CSV. And these are the data which I want to see. A film called Burfi with 50 crore. Any questions? Go ahead.
No, just send the email.
Yeah. I will add after this. I explain this. Thank you for sharing. Please keep on sharing, everyone. I need Bajirao Mastani with 200 crores, Ramlila with 100 crores, Tamasha with 100 crores. Anything which is in white is a data input. Okay, so this data input will not be done using UI. You will have to load this data. Please remember this using a CSV file. Similarly, forget about the rest of the part. Yeah. Similarly, in actors, I need this first name, last name. Ranbir Kapoor, Priyanka Chopra, Deepika Padukone, and Ranveer Singh. Only this data you have to load using CSV file. Clear? Now, question. What is the relationship between film and actor? Is it one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many? What is the relationship between these two objects?
Relationship between film and the actor, right?
Yes.
One to many.
One-to-many, which side is one?
Film will be one and many would be the actor.
That means in one film, multiple actors can be associated.
That's correct.
But are you saying that one actor cannot work in multiple films?
That's okay. But this is more of, okay. This is like an account ID, right? Like I'm just trying to put across in this way that film is like an ID. Okay. Now, which is unique in itself.
That's right. Film is unique. One film is associated to multiple actors. That is, you have established, we established that. Now let us look at it from the other side. Can one actor be associated to multiple films?
Yes.
Of course it can, right?
This.
Ranbir Kapoor is working in Burfi and Tamasha both. Priyanka Chopra will work in Burfi and Bajirao. Deepika Padukone will work in Bajirao, Ram, Leela and Tamasha. 3 films. Ranveer Singh will work in Ram, Leela and Bajirao. Clear? Similarly, Burfi will have 2 actors, Ranbir and Priyanka. Bajirao will have 3 actors. Ram, Leela will have 2 actors. Tamasha will have 2 actors. So, one to many, one to many. So if it is one to many from both sides, what happens?
That make a many to many relationship.
So these two objects has a many-to-many relationship. How is many-to-many relationship established between two objects in Salesforce?
So through
Mapping
junction.
Through
mapping object.
through mapping object. What do you mean by mapping object? How will you create a mapping object? What is a mapping object? How will you create a mapping object? Come
So
on,
through master detail.
master detail. Why master detail? Why not lookup?
No, first we make three
Hello?
object.
Yeah,
Like,
go ahead.
Mapping object is a child of two objects.
Mapping object is a child of two objects. Great answer. How do you create a child of two objects in Salesforce?
Hello? Sir, sorry, sir, I'm not able to hear you. Hello?
How will you create the child object of two objects? In
Sir, we
Salesforce?
need to create one is to many relationship from both.
How will you create that in Salesforce?
Sir, to master detail relationship, sir.
lookup and master detail
Master.
both relationship.
Really? Lookup or master detail? Anything is possible, right?
Yes, sir.
Both are relationship fields. Okay. So you can create. What is the ideal name of this master detail a mapping object? How will you name that?
Actor film.
Actor film. Okay. Film actor or actor film, named after two parents. So there is a mapping object you have to create, which is called film and actor, or film actor, or actor film, however you want to name. That will have two lookup fields or two master detail fields. One for pointing to film, one pointing to actor. Right?
Yes.
So I want you to create these relationships again using a CSV file. No data, only data loading. So load data in your mapping object using a CSV file. And this is the mapping. I have given it to you already. Clear?
Yes, sir.
This is your assignment for 1 week. I think very easy job. You can do it. Please create two master detail relationship. Do not create lookup. Okay.
Okay, sir.
When there is two master detail in an object, what kind of mapping object is that?
Junction object.
Junction object. If there is a two master detail, that becomes a junction object. So we are creating a junction object between film and actor that will be called either film actor or actor film, however you want to name it. That will have two master detail fields, one pointing to film, one pointing to actor, and you have to load data using a CSV file. Okay, create this relationship. Whichever tool you want to use, go ahead and use it. You can use dataloader.io, you can use Workbench, you can also use import wizard. Okay, this is your assignment for next week. I will add you now to the assignment. Please wait. Okay, one thing before I sign off, I forgot to say is that I need you to create a new app which will be called film industry, and it will only have two tabs, film and actor tab. Okay, junction object tab is not required. Do not add that. Clear? Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay. There is a mandatory name field. Okay, in your mapping object. What will you fill up there is up to you, and you show your creativity to me in the next class. In actor also you will get a name field. Whether you utilize that for the first time or last time or load it differently, it is up to you and your creativity. So many people will have different ways of handling those. Please remember that. So let's join back in the next class with this assignment. Anybody facing any trouble or understanding, or do you think there is a challenge doing this assignment? Any knowledge gaps you think you might have to finish this assignment? Please let me know so that I can have a separate class with you if required. As per my understanding, you have all the knowledge you need to finish this assignment. Those who have already done this assignment in past, they can go ahead and do it once again. This will only make it easier for you and would be a good practice session for you. So I have added you all. Now you can access this. Do I have the email IDs of everybody? Correct.